Yo, once again it's on. Back at you one more again, Real Kens TV and the House Like Kitchen Sinks. Hopefully you like the video. Feel free to comment, definitely share, subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed, and be sure to hit that post notification anytime I bring you this action and this heat. Guess what? You're amongst the first to receive. And with no further ado, let's get into this morning's video, if you will. Just getting off work. It's Friday night. It's about 12:28 a.m. Couldn't wait to jump on here and talk to my favorite people. You know what I mean? Oftentimes, I'm not going to say oftentimes, I may be exaggerating, but it's been a couple times people, especially as of late, been asking me, personal questions as far as, what my charges were. I answered them, no problem. Just kind of, I guess people kind of want to know a little bit about me. I have absolutely no problem with that. For the simple fact, I'm an open book. I have nothing to hide, have nothing to lie about. People are going to find out who you are anyway. You see what I'm saying? So there's no reason to really lie or exaggerate about anything. Now, with that being in mind, I want to take you all back to my humble beginnings, if you will. This is one of those stories that go all the way back to childhood. Particular story that came to mind that I just wanted to share with you all, And there's every story that I tell, there's a meaning. There's a reason that I tell the story. This particular story is just kind of stresses, if you will, the importance of a father being in a household, or at least a father being present in a young child's life, particularly a boy, but either or, to be honest. But the reason I say particularly a boy, because, people always say it takes a father, or it takes a man to actually teach a boy how to be a man. I don't know if I 100% agree with that, but I can see how a man's presence will be greatly needed. Taking nothing away from the mother. Mothers are very, very, very strong, been doing it for years on their own, but I'm quite sure that they would love to have the father's help. The problem is a lot of fathers don't bother. So I'm going to take you all back, it was in the 80s. And I was a young whippersnapper then. But actually, let me go back even further. I came from a decent home, nice upbringing. I never seen any violence, domestic violence, any drugs, any alcohol, anything like that, in my home. My mother and father, they got married in high school, well, right after high school. Back then, that's what you did. You got married and you went to work. And my mother and father, right at 18, because their birthdays are like 2 months apart, the exact same age. So they got married as soon as they graduated from high school. And, 3 years later, I came along. Little Kens. So I come along, and my mother and father, they're married or what have you. And they're having their issues, because my father, he was a singer. He was a musician, and he was very good, so I hear. And, they were on the road constantly trying to make it. And, he was a struggling musician. So a lot of times, my mother, a lot of the bills and the responsibilities fell on her. She's a very hard worker. She always kept her credit, immaculate. Even to this day, she has like a 800 plus credit score. Like, she was always on top of her bills, always on top of her finances, very, very, very responsible. And my dad, he was constantly on the road. They were opening for like the Ohio Players, Earth, Wind and Fire, groups like that way back in the 80s. So if y'all not familiar with those groups, you can Google them, if you so choose to. So he was always on the road, and, he went out to LA for a while. My mother wanted him to come home, and, he ended up coming home. And I don't think he was very happy about the situation because he wanted to be on the road with his band. And so, they kind of went back and forth or what have you. And when I was 3 years old, they decided to get a divorce. So once they got a divorce, my mother moved, and we were in subsidized housing. They didn't actually send us to the projects. It was a projects, but it wasn't like the main projects, because at that time they had started building like subsidized housing in different areas in town. So instead of sending us to like East End or West End, that's where the main projects were located at, they sent us to another area. So I lived out there. My mother, man, she did the best that she could do, with as far as raising me. My father, he didn't really bother too much at that point because he was bitter with my mom, and, she put him on child support. So a lot of the bitterness that he had towards her is as though he took it out on me. I was seeing from time to time, don't get me wrong, but, a lot of days, and I still remember this, at this point, we're in the 80s, I'm probably 7, 8 years old, and he would tell me he's coming to pick me up, and I'm waiting outside all day, and he doesn't show up. And eventually my mom, she makes me come in the house, and I'm mad at her. Mom, my dad said he's coming. Look, Ken's, it's 11 o'clock at night, 10:30, he's not coming. So I'm standing, every time a car pulls in, I'll see a light, I'm looking, hope to see, hopefully, it's my dad. He never bothered. So, I remember calling him, and, Dad, can I come and spend the night? He had gotten remarried, and he had a son, and it would always be a reason why I couldn't come over. Every blue moon I could go over, and I just wanted to be at my dad's house. It didn't matter. It didn't matter if he stayed in the room with his wife the majority of the day. I take my Nintendo over there, my Mike Tyson's Punch Out, and, man, I'd have a day, And I remember him making excuses of, well, you can't come over because I don't have any beds. Dad, I don't care. I'll sleep on the floor. Well, let me call you back. And I never heard back from him. So like I said, every once in a while he would show up, but for the most part, he didn't show up. So it was primarily just me and my mom in the household, and we lived in subsidized housing. It was a neighborhood. It was a bunch of other kids, came from single parent homes, and it was based on your income. That's what subsidized housing is, based on your income. So, it was a very, very fun neighborhood, because it was always kids around. Always kids to play with. And I remember this particular day I was outside, and they had built like I don't even know exactly what you call it, but it's like you could skateboard. So it's like a pit. You can ride your skateboard down in the pit and then come up and do flips and things of that nature. So we were all outside one day, by the skateboard pit. And I wasn't really, skateboarding wasn't really my thing. I was just out there. So, everybody was just outside, just having fun, as kids do. Like I said, at this point, I'm probably 7 or 8, somewhere right around in that range. And we decided to play kickball. So it started from skateboarding. You know how kids are. You start with one thing, then you get bored, then you go to the next. So we decided to play kickball. So we're playing kickball. It's a lot of kids outside. Everybody's having fun. Everybody's getting along. And a guy had kicked the ball. I caught the ball. Well, when I caught the ball, a guy was running to second base. Another kid was running to second base. So it's my job to tag him out. You throw the ball at him. You know, these are not like we're throwing baseballs or anything. You know, a kickball, the soft kickballs. Pause though. So I throw the ball, and when I throw the ball, it hits him in his face inadvertently. I wasn't trying to hit the kid in his face. Like I said, I'm 7, 8 years old. I'm not trying to hurt anybody. Nobody's trying to hurt anybody. Hits him in his face. The kid runs in the house crying. You know, I'm trying to apologize. Like, man, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I ain't mean to hit you in your face, man. So he goes in the house, and we continue the game. I feel bad. I'm worried about him. Like, man, I wonder, is he okay? So, you know, we're continuing to play the game. Next thing you know, I see the kid walking out with his father. His father comes up to me and said, "You hit my son in the face with the ball?" My mother always taught me well. I was very mannerable. I was like, no, sir. I did, but I didn't mean to. It was an accident. So I remember him saying, well, how would you feel if I hit you in the face with the ball? So I'm trying to, you know, plead my case that it was an accident. We're all out here just playing, you know, kickball. Now, mind you, it's a grown adult talking to a 7, 8-year-old kid. 8 or 9, I want to say 8 or 9. But nevertheless, I'm a young kid. So he tells his son that he's going to make him fight me for hitting him in the face with the ball and him running in the house crying. He's making his son fight me. I'm telling his father, sir, I don't want to fight your son. I don't remember what his name was. I like him. I don't want to fight him. He doesn't want to fight me. But the dad is insisting that he fights me. All the kids are outside. There's really no parents outside but him. So he makes his son fight me. His son is trying to swing on me, but he really don't want to. But for the simple fact that his dad is telling him, you better get him or I'm going to whip your butt. So ultimately we end up fighting. I did not want to fight the dude. I beat him up. I ain't beat him up bad, but you know, I beat him up. Next thing I know, I feel like somebody tugged the back of my shirt. You know how you grab somebody up by the back of the shirt? His dad had grabbed me from behind and kind of had me like jacked up like this by the back of my shirt. So when he does that, I turn around like I'm trying to get loose, and I turn around. Then he grabs me by the front of my shirt, and he's talking crazy to me, man. He jacked me up by my shirt, talking about, you know, I put my hands on his son, and I'm thinking to myself, but you the one that made me fight him. I didn't even want to fight him. Next thing you know, dude grabs me by the back of my neck. A tight grip by the back of my neck. This dude was a foreign dude as well. I don't know exactly where they were from, but I just remember he was like a foreign dude. There's nothing wrong with foreign people. I'm just saying, I'm just painting the picture, giving you all visualization. Got tongue tied. You know what I'm saying? So that you can kind of, you know, just ride with me, go down memory lane with me. Even though it's not your memory, it's my lane. It's my memory. But nevertheless. So at this point, he asked me about the back of my neck, and he was like, what building do you live in? So I was pointing to the building that I lived in. I remember vividly the grip that he had was so tight, like it hurt. And he's walking me into the building. As he's walking me to the building, I remember I wasn't even saying anything. I wasn't like, you're hurting me. Ouch, let me go. Stop, please. I wasn't doing any of that. I was just walking right along. We get to the building. We lived on the 3rd floor. He still has me by my neck as we were walking up the 3rd floor. Grown adult. 8, 9 years old at best. I lived in apartment 99. He knocks on the door. Didn't get an answer initially. Knocks even louder. Eventually, my mom, you know, she comes to the door. It's how you answer the door in the hood. Who is it? "It's me, Mom." She answers the door. She sees this grown man at the door. His hand is still on my neck. She's like, "What is going on?" He immediately starts talking to my mom. Your son hit my son. Your son hit my son in the face, and he beat him up, and they fight. So my mom's looking at me, and I'm like, "Mom, I accidentally hit him in the face. I didn't mean to hit him in the face. I accidentally hit him in the face when he was playing kickball." This guy still hasn't let go of my neck. I'm looking at my mom, and she's just kind of looking like, she's like, hold on just a second. So we wait by the door. It wasn't even 5 seconds. My mom comes back to the door with a long knife. I remember my mom had a long knife in the house, had a gray handle on it. She didn't have a gun or anything like that, but she did have that knife. And she came back to the door, and she told that man, "You got about 2 seconds to take your hands off my son." So the dude took his hands, but he kind of shoved me a little bit, like forward. Not, drastically anything, but he kind of just, go on. So he got to talking, you need to make sure your son learns to keep his hands to himself. And my mom said, "If you ever come to my house, ever again, if I ever hear about you putting your hands on my son, it's not going to be no warning next time." And I went in the house, and, the guy, he went on. He walked on. The significance of this story, if you will, looking back, is as if the gentleman, which he wasn't a gentleman, but I respect my elders, is as though the gentleman knew that there wasn't a father figure in the house. After all, why would he just go to my door, knocking on the door, with his hand wrapped around my neck, basically, unless he knew that it was a woman in the house, a woman only? And that's not to say that a woman won't mess you, won't defend herself or defend her kids or anything. There was no hesitancy. He wasn't afraid whatsoever. There was no fear in him. There was no concern in him. Because looking back, he knew that I was in a single parent home. Single parent home, in which it was my mother. See, my dad wasn't in the household. He wasn't in the household to protect me, to protect her. You think that my dad, if he had been there and someone came to the door like that, do you think it would have been any warnings? You think it would have been any talking? Imagine if someone comes to your door with your child, 8 or 9 years old, and they have their hand wrapped around their neck. I'm all with it takes a village. That's how I was raised. I used to get whoopings by the neighbors. I'm with that. To a certain extent, though. It has to be out of concern. It has to be out of love. Genuine care. You see my child doing something, you get on my child. But at the same time, this guy knew that there wasn't a man in the household. So he felt as though he could get away with that. Guys, when you're out here being a knucklehead like I was for so many years and so many times in my life, that I didn't care about my kids, my family, my loved ones, because I took myself out of the home. I took myself out of the equation by breaking the law and going back and forth to penitentiary until I finally got my mind right and got myself together. When you continuously take yourself out of the home, you're leaving your kids to fend for themselves. Mother has to work, sometimes 2-3 jobs. Kids have to stay home by themselves sometimes. Can't afford no babysitter. So just imagine anything that could take place in that home in which, if you were there, it may not have gone that way. But because you're not there, again, your kids are left to fend for themselves. Imagine how upset you would be. You're locked in a cage and you hear that a grown man, shows up at your door, banging on your door, and has his hand wrapped around your kid's neck. Imagine how furious you would be. But guess what? What can you do about it? You locked up. You locked up, man. You can't do anything. You try to talk to your kids over the phone, try to tell them the right things to do. You can try to discipline them over the phone. You can try to encourage them, and all those things are fine and dandy, but it's nothing like being there. And I feel like my father failed me at that particular point. Where was you at, Dad? You supposed to be here to protect me from this man that was clearly taking advantage, knowing that there wasn't a man in the household. And for years, as I was raised, my mom did a great job raising me. I never had a criminal record. I never got, as far as as a juvenile, I never got arrested. I didn't even break the law when I was young. I ain't started doing that until I was older and had to deal with the rigorous responsibilities of life. And that's no excuse. It's just what it is, what it was. I came out of high school. I played football. I played baseball. I went to college. I went to Kentucky State University. I was a good kid coming out of school. It's just as I got older, I kind of ventured into the fast money lane. I didn't want to wait. I wanted it fast. And later on in life, I told my dad about that. When I was about 19 and 20, we had it out. I got it out of my system. I told him exactly how I felt. And everything was good after that. I forgave him, and we were cool. Everything was cool. Unfortunately, my dad passed away when I was in prison. Couldn't go to the funeral. I didn't even find out he had passed away till about 2 or 3 days later. Stay out here with your kids, fellas. You don't got to be a tough guy. You don't have to be out here in these streets, man. Ain't nothing out here in the streets. It's fast money, man. It comes fast and it goes fast. At the end of the day, only thing you really going to have is your family, your loved ones, man. Your kids, man. Your kids love you unconditionally. I know you want to get them the Jordans and the Xbox and the PlayStation. Yeah, and they love all of those things. But guess what they love even more? You. They want you in their life, man. So if you can't get them those things, guess what? It's okay. You don't have to feel bad. You don't have to feel down on yourself. Elevate yourself. I made a video about elevating. Elevate yourself. Like I said, get you a trade, get you a job, get you a skill, start you a business, start you a YouTube channel, start anything. I don't want to hear any excuses about I can't do it. I mentioned him in my last video. I got a partner. He's very talented. He's funny, but he has every excuse in the book. I want to start me a YouTube channel, but I got to get me some better equipment. I got to get a better phone. I got to get better camera. Man. Only thing you got to do is just set your account up and turn your camera on and talk. I don't know how to edit. I don't edit either. I will eventually. But right now it's about getting my name, getting myself, getting my story out there. And that's what I tell him. We all have to elevate. Things aren't going right. We figure out a way to make them go right. May not happen overnight, may not happen next week. But as long as you're doing the right thing, I firmly believe good things happen to good people. People trying to do the right thing. Do the right thing, man. Be out here for your kids. Don't remove yourself from your kids' life. And the easiest way to do it is out here, breaking the law. And especially when you're out there shooting people and robbing people, killing people, and, violence. They don't play that. And they looking to get you up through there. And when I say they looking to get you up through there, meaning they looking to give you all the time in the world. No empathy, no sympathy for anything violent. Stay out here, youngsters. Stay out here. It's beautiful out here. You got your family, you got your mom, hopefully. Perhaps your dad, your grandparents, your kids, beautiful women, your woman, your wife, whatever, your friends. You can. Why would you want to go to penitentiary and be around a bunch of hard ankles all day? It's miserable, man. It's violent. It's dangerous. Nothing cool. You don't get any stripes going to prison. Your kids need you out here, man. Because just think about it. What if someone shows up at your girl's door? Your wife's door, your baby's mama's door, whoever that she is to you. She gave you the most precious gift in life as a child or children. Either or. And you're not even there to protect them. It's not worth it. It's definitely not worth it, man. Stay out here, be here for your kids, man. Like I said, I needed my dad that day. I needed him a lot of days. My mom did an excellent job. Excellent job raising me. But she definitely could have used my dad's help. Real Kens TV, man. Hopefully you liked the video. Feel free to comment. Definitely share, subscribe to the channel. You know what I mean? Make sure you hit that post notification. So anytime I bring you this action, this heat, you're amongst the first to receive it. A new channel. You know, I think I've been on YouTube at this point for about 6 months. You know, I didn't really take it serious for the first couple months. So I've been going hard, you know, for the last 4 months, 4.5 months, if you will. And you know, I need you all to share my video. If you like the video, just share it. Don't take long to share it. You know, we trying to, you know, get Real Kens TV out there. Y'all enjoy your evening, man. I'm gonna get on in this house, man. I got the sunroof up and it's raining on my head. Raindrops falling on my head. That's how I feel. Till next time, man. Real Kens TV.